My own one.
Darling.
Darling. Lady Bracknell.
Gwendolyn! What does this mean?
Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Come here! Sit down! Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental weakness in the young and physical weakness in the old. Being apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusted maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed immediately in a luggage train. You will understand, sir, that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm.
Lady Bracknell, I am engaged to be married to Gwendolyn.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. Now, as pertains to Algernon. Algernon?
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
May I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend Mr. Bunbury resides?
Oh, no, Aunt Augusta. Mr. Bunbury is not here. That is, that he is somewhere else at the moment. In fact, Bunbury's dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
Well, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, rather to say that Mr. Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Well, quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was unaware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
What I mean to say, Aunt Augusta, is that Mr. Bunbury was found out, rather, yes, his doctors found out that he could not live, and consequently Mr. Bunbury died.
He seemed to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physician. I am glad, however, that he has made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action and a proper medical advice. And now that we are finally rid of Mr. Bunbury, may I ask Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is holding in what seems to be a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That young lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I'm engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon.
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know if there is something peculiarly exciting here in this particular part of Hertfordshire, but it seems to me the number of engagements that go on are far above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our guidance. Perhaps some preliminary inquiries from me might not be out of place. May I ask, Mr. Worthing, if Miss Cardew is at all connected to any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely ask for information. Before yesterday, I had no idea there were persons or families whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew was the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, Jervis Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Spore in Fifeshire.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. The three addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I have carefully preserved the court guides of the time. They are open to your inspection, Lady Bracknell.
Though I have known strange errors in that publication.
Well, Miss Cardew's family solicitors were Messieurs Markby, Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby. A firm of the highest position in their profession. Indeed, I am told that one of the Mr. Markleys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. Thus far, I am satisfied.
How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I also have in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the English and German variety.
A life crowded with internet, I see. But perhaps a bit too exciting for a young lady. I myself am not in favor of premature experiences. It is nearly time for our departure, Gwendolyn. We haven't a moment to lose. Oh, Mr. Worthing, I should ask whether Miss Cardew has any little thoughts.
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. That's all. Thank you for coming. So nice to have seen you.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000. And in the funds, Miss Cardew seems to be a most attractive young lady. Now that I look at her. Yeah. Your dress is sadly simple. And your hair seems almost as nature might have left it. We can soon alter all of that. A thoroughly experienced French maid can produce miraculous results in a very short period of time. I remember recommending one to young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months, her own husband did not know her.
And after 6 months, nobody did.
Kindly turn around, dear child. No, the side view was what I wanted. Yes, just as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The two weak parts of our age are want of principle and want of profile. Your chin a bit higher, dear. Style largely depends upon how the chin is worn. They're worn quite high just at present. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
Miss Cardew has distinct social possibilities in her profile.
Cecily is the sweetest, prettiest girl in the whole world, and I don't care tuppence for social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. Now, my dear, you must know that Algernon has only his debt to depend upon. But I do not believe in mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind. But I never for a moment let that stand in my way. I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may kiss me.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
And you may address me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The wedding, I think, should probably take place quite soon.
Oh, thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Speaking frankly, I'm not in favor of long engagements. They give people the opportunity to learn each other's characters before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but the question of this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
On what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I might almost say ostentatiously, eligible young man. He has nothing but looks everything. What more could one desire?
It pains me very much to be forced to speak frankly to you of your own nephew, but I must say that I do not at all approve of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He went to Oxford.
I'm afraid there can be no question of the matter. This morning, during my temporary absence to London on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my house under the false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I've just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of Pierre Jouet 89, wine I was specially reserving for myself. Continuing his disgraceful deception, he succeeded in alienating the affections of my only ward during the course of the afternoon. He subsequently stayed on to tea, where he devoured every single muffin. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is he knew from the start that I never had a brother, that I don't intend on having a brother from any time in the near future. I distinctly told him myself this yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided to entirely overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
How extremely generous of you, Lady Bracknell. However, my own decision is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come over here, dear. How old are you?
Well, I really am only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to evening parties.
Quite correct in making some slight alterations. A woman should never be quite accurate about her age and look so calculating. 18, but going to 20 at dinner parties. Well, it will not be long before you are of age and free of the restrictions of tutelage. So I don't think your guardian's consent is a matter of any importance.
I beg your pardon for interrupting yet again, Lady Bracknell, but I feel it only fair to inform you that under the conditions of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come of age until she is 35.
I see no grave objections in that. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is filled with women of the highest birth who have of their own free choice remained 35 per year. I don't see why our Cecily should not be just as attractive at the age you mentioned that she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property.
Algy, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could. Cecily, you know I could.
Yes, I felt it instinctively. But I couldn't wait all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross. I'm not punctual myself, I know, but I do admire punctuality in others, and waiting, even to be married, is quite out of the question.
Cecily, then what are we to do?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait until she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to show a somewhat impatient nature. I would beg of you to change your decision.
But my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you condone my engagement to Gwendolen, I will gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must know, sir, that what you propose is out of the question.
And I'm afraid a passionate celibacy is all any of us have to look forward to.
That is not the destiny I have in mind for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Come here, we missed 5, if not 6 trains already. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Well, everything is quite ready for the christening.
Christening, sir? Is that not a bit premature?
But both these gentlemen have expressed an immediate desire for baptism.
At their age, the idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I would dream of such excesses. Your uncle would be very upset indeed if he learned that that was the way you wasted your time and money.